In a breaking story, the Daily Signal is reporting today that a staff attorney at the Southern Poverty Law Center was arrested yesterday on terrorism charges. Authorities allege he took part in a riot outside Atlanta in which there was a staggering level of violence, including firebombs thrown at police. Now, the SPLC is notorious for labeling Christian organizations as hate groups. Just last month, we discussed how their rhetoric was used by the FBI when considering investigations of conservative Catholic churches. I wonder if the Biden administration, Department of Justice, Democrats will disavow these actions of this group. Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Tyler O'Neill, who reported this for the Daily Signal, where he is the managing editor. He also wrote the book on the SPLC, literally. He's the author of Making Hate Pay, The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Tyler, welcome back to the program.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, so just explain for our viewers and listeners what's been going on in Atlanta.
Yeah, so in Atlanta on Sunday, authorities detained 35 people and charged 23 of them with domestic terrorism following a riot. Now, this was a protest against Cop City, where these protesters were saying that a new training facility that the Atlanta Police Department was constructing represents a militarization of police in the area. And, this protest, at first it was a protest, I believe, but then, of course, they threw on the masks. They were dressed in black bloc, and they started throwing rocks. They started throwing Molotov cocktails, and they started throwing fireworks. And it's almost a miracle that these police officers were not injured. But this is a very serious attack. And among those arrested was a certain individual by the name of Tom Jurgens. According to the DeKalb County Jail, it is Thomas Webb Jurgens. And he also appears on the Georgia State Bar website, where he's listed as an active member in good standing. And this is an SPLC attorney. He works at the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that has carried water for Antifa in the past, and that has received information from self-described anti-fascist operators.
Has the SPLC released any statement regarding Jurgens' arrest?
No, the SPLC has not responded to requests for comment on the issue. And I also reached out to SPLC allies. The American Universities Peril is what they call it. It's a project on extremism, and they work very closely with the SPLC. They have not commented. Neither has the Council on American Islamic Relations, which often works with the SPLC. And I reached out to the Georgia State Bar to hear what the next process is there. I believe what will happen is, if this individual is convicted of domestic terrorism, then he will no longer be in good standing. They will most certainly take action against him.
So any reaction from the Biden White House? I mean, the Biden administration often cites the SPLC, especially when it comes to labeling of the so-called hate groups.
Yeah, so the Biden White House has yet to comment on the issue as well. And in fact, the FBI under Biden decided to rescind the memo, the Richmond FBI memo, citing the SPLC on the specific hate group accusation against what they term radical traditional Catholics. Now, some of these organizations may actually, espouse some sort of anti-Semitic content. I believe I have seen some evidence of that. But the problem is the SPLC is so discredited when it comes to the hate group accusation. They have legitimately mainstream organizations on there, such as Alliance Defending Freedom, such as the Family Research Council, such as the Center for Security Policy and Center for Immigration Studies. The SPLC, and besides, the FBI has no grounds citing the SPLC when the SPLC hate map inspired an act of terrorism there at the Family Research Council in 2012. And the man actually confessed to terrorism,
Right.
and was the first person convicted of terrorism charges in
And
DC.
the standard is not objective, it's subjective, and they even acknowledge that themselves. I don't understand how they can continue to have credibility with the media that makes reference to them and their hate list and their list of domestic terrorist groups when, they've had all these internal issues and now they have, they talk about other groups being hate groups. They're the ones actually now engaging in violence, attacking police.
Yeah, and the fact that they haven't condemned it really speaks volumes. And I don't believe that the SPLC itself would necessarily, support this kind of attack, but we have yet to see a statement from them on this. And it's very clear from the Georgia State Bar and from the DeKalb County jail records that this is the man that the SPLC has hired. It's
there's some culpability here that they would even hire someone. This is not just a mail process. This isn't a clerk that works in the mailroom or a janitor. This is a staff attorney, an educated person who should know what the organization stands for. In fact, I think he does, because they are a violent extremist group in terms of what they're promoting with their reckless labeling of other organizations. Tyler, we're out of time. Always great to see you. Great work as always, and keep it up.